Ladies and gentlemen, so today we have a ton of information on the return and also future of Infinity Dungeons and Marvel Contest of Champions to break down. So yesterday we received two announcements from Kabam. The first one we got is kind of the Dungeons return on August 20th, which is next Monday, giving you all of the information on kind of the stuff that is going to be changing and has been updated when these Dungeons return. And for the most part, it's looking like kind of some good, there's good stuff, there's bad stuff, and we're going to talk about that and break that down. But also we got this wonderful developer thoughts post, which I really enjoyed reading, kind of heavily breaking down all of the design process for Infinity Dungeons and how kind of they perceived the initial run of Infinity Dungeons and the stuff that they liked and the stuff that they didn't like, as well as the confirmation that Infinity Dungeons are going to be returning two additional dates, September 17th and also October 22nd, and they like the idea of having them of like the last 2 weeks of every month, because when a monthly event starts, everybody's focused on the monthly event quest, but then when it gets the last 2 weeks, generally a lot of people have done stuff, and it's kind of, an additional piece of content to fill the gap. However, they are also going to be trying out new stuff when the dungeons return as well. On the 17th, as you may be aware from the first iteration of Dungeons, it was something that was a one-day event and you had to do every single day, which I thought was kind of one of the biggest setbacks of Infinity Dungeons, is because you had to do it every single day, and it was quite a bit of a grind for most people. It would take them between like half an hour and an hour and a half, greatly depending on how your roster was and who you were playing with. Like, it just became very tedious and very boring significantly quickly. But when they do return on September 17th, so this isn't going to be this month, it's going to be next month, they're going to have a 3-day event, a milestone instead, and also on October 22nd we're going to be trying a revised milestone setup, but at this time they don't have too much more information on this. So this is really good stuff going forward, because one of my big criticisms with Infinity Dungeons when it first came around is that I think the daily system is just absolutely rubbish. As somebody that's played MMORPGs for a lot of years, I know that weekly quests are generally a lot more exciting and enjoyable than daily quests. And if you get a weekly quest right, or an activity to do on a weekly basis right, and you make it rewarding enough, it becomes really exciting to do. If it's got kind of a good level of reward, it's really fun to do, and I believe they have the perfect setup with Infinity Dungeons, because the days that I enjoyed Infinity Dungeons the most were on weekends when I could just chill with one of my boys on like Skype, like my boy Joey Maylou. We just have a couple of drinks, just be chatting, like smashing through the Infinity Dungeons. So kind of like a big dungeon session over the space of a week, and having all those milestones available over a 7-day period instead of forcing me to log on every day and complete the event in order to keep up with the artifacts and also dust. Yeah, that just became really tedious. But also one of the things that they kind of have acknowledged as well in the developer thing about what we saw that we didn't like, so players were spending more time to achieve their milestones than we'd hoped or intended, so people were spending a bit too much time in there. Dungeon parties formed through matchmaking had a lower success rate on average compared to dungeons formed with friends or alliance members. And I think when it comes to stuff like dungeons, it's always going to be the case when you know somebody is a good player from your alliance, it's going to be a better success rate than somebody that's completely random that you've just met off a random chat room or the queuing tool. So yeah, that's going to be one of the things that I guess you can't really change. If it's something that's to do with the skill level of a player, you're always better off queuing with somebody that has some elite skills going on there. Many early game players did not attempt the mode during its availability. Basing it on prestige meant that we were looking at everyone's highest 5 champions, which meant that after 1 or 2 dungeon runs, players would have those champions on cooldown and could then have drastically lower PI champions that could not complete the content we had targeted for them. And also this one, which I think is really important, there was too much pressure with Infinity Dust as the reward. We put Infinity Dust in the dungeon rewards because we knew that players would be collecting it throughout the month for additional rewards, so omitting it from dungeon rewards would mean that a lot of players would avoid this new game mode in their quest for more dust. However, this created the unintended pressure amongst players that they had to get every milestone in every dungeon every day to earn enough dust to buy a 5-star Awakening Gem crystal. And I think that's really what burnt a lot of people out, man, because a lot of people went for that 5-star Awakening Gem and they got to the end of the month and then it was a gem that for them right now was completely useless, or maybe one that they already had a couple couple of copies of. So yeah, Awakening Gem Crystal, you know, RNG just wasn't that great that month, but I'm glad they acknowledged it. And also Dark Artifacts as a limited time. Temporary currency added a large amount of undesired pressure on players. So yeah, what we've changed moving forward and why. Artifacts are now a permanent currency, so you don't feel like you need to get enough before it's gone. Getting all the milestones every day will get you the rewards faster, but you can still slowly accumulate artifacts over multiple dungeon events and eventually reach your goal. So yeah, your artifacts no longer have an expiry date. You can just chill and grind out kind of the dungeons at your own pace, which is really, really nice to see. Also lowering effort required. We didn't want players playing dungeons for hours at a time, so we lowered the effort required to reach the top milestone. We did also lower the rewards per milestone to maintain balance as well. So this is one thing that we're going to talk about once we get onto the return of the Infinity Dungeons, because I feel like this is maybe a period, an area where they've gone a little bit too stingy, at least in my opinion. And then finally we have overlapping the dungeon event with the second 2 weeks of the event quest. A lot of players like to get the event quest finished right away so that they don't have to worry about rushing it at the end of the month. By holding off on dungeons for the first 2 weeks, we're trying to give players the chance to finish the event quest without also having to worry about dungeons. So yeah, really cool to get the developer insight there. Again, just a confirmation that they are going to return, you know, over the next 3 months. We're going to have these coming back twice after, and maybe, you know, it might be a reoccurring thing every single month, but I like the fact that they're making changes, they're looking at this, they're looking to move it forward. But yeah, again, kind of my ideal theoretical Infinity Dungeon system would be on a weekly basis, but I'm interested to see how kind of the 3-day one performs. But I think weekly stuff is generally quite exciting. If there's kind of a big stack of reward, it gives something, gives people something to look forward to on a weekly basis. So I think, you know, weekly quest, they've done quite well. They've done really, really well in a lot of MMORPGs, and I think it's definitely something to pay attention to there. But anyway, let's talk about the return of dungeons next Monday and all of the stuff that you need to know. So again, your dungeon currency is going to be permanent. You don't need to worry about spending it before the event ends, because they're going to be coming back again and again and again. You can earn experience in dungeon fights, which is good for people looking to push toward level 40 at the moment, because yeah, you can get XP, and hopefully it's going to be a fairly decent rate as well. You've got early exit, but you will claim the lost rewards as well, because you have to wait for like a timeout to claim the rewards. There's also going to be a new difficulty added, just to help kind of like smooth out the difficulty curve for the lower levels. So it's not going to be a higher new difficulty. Dungeon 6 is still going to be Dungeon 6. There's just a level 3 one to smooth it out a little bit more. A dungeon store, you can use units to purchase dungeon potions and revives, but it doesn't really look like you're going to need these, to be honest, especially with the updated milestones. And yeah, this is also where you find the dungeon crystals that you can purchase with the artifacts. There's going to be some buff and boss pool updates, and also readjusted milestones. So previously, if we have a look just at the final milestone here, it's now half of what it was previously. So it used to be 7,500 on a daily basis, but now it's only 3,750. So I think that's like only like 2 or 3 rooms. Even in Dungeon 6 might only actually be 2 of them. But yeah, for doing that, you now get a total of 1,030 artifacts, but the 5-star crystal is still 27,000. So if you want to get the 5-star crystal for this, it's still 27 days of doing Infinity Dungeons. And again, it's only going to be available for 2 weeks, so you're going to have to do it all the time it comes around for the first 2 times, and all the time it comes around for the second 2 times. So yeah, I am not overly fond of the rewards nerf there, because I feel like it was very easy, at least in Dungeon 6, for an endgame player like myself to just keep on pushing further and get to like 7.5k or like 12.5k points quite easily. So yeah, I don't know, it seems a little bit of a drip on a daily basis, and it's not something that you can get really excited about, knowing that you have to do 27 days of it. And if we have a look at this from a perspective of, you know, 1 5-star crystal is 10,000 5-star shards, divide that by 27, what's the kind of 5-star shard equivalent? It's 370 for something where you have to team up with somebody else and smash out a couple of rooms. So if we compare this to something like you know, the Trials of the Mad Titan, where you smash that out, you got your 300 5-star shards. That was really quick, really easy to do. It's just, it's not overly incentivizing or rewarding. Yes, you have the gold there as well, and that's kind of a nice little bonus, but gold, you need so much of it right now, especially at the end game, that this is still not the biggest and beefiest stack out there. Like, it'll be a nice little bonus every single day, but still, just, you know, with the first iteration of it coming back, it's nothing really exciting to get about. It's nothing really exciting to get about on a daily basis. So yeah, I still think they need to do a little bit more to make the rewards a little bit more exciting. I feel like doing like 14 days of Infinity Dungeons every single day is a fairly fair trade-off to get like 1 5-star crystal, because there is that additional effort of like working with somebody else and bringing them in and smashing out the rooms. You really want to get a little bit more, or at least I feel like they should have just another reward in the mix as well. But again, I also want to see it shifted toward a 7-day thing, kind of a weekly quest, and it, you know, be like, you know, you do 2 weeks of it and hey, you can get a 5-star crystal. So you get excited every week because you're like, oh, I've pretty much got the equivalent of a half a 5-star crystal to look forward. And I don't think that's, you know, overly demanding. I don't think that's overly generous for what could be quite a lengthy session in Infinity Dungeons to obtain all the milestones. So yeah, I'd again much prefer to see it weekly, and I think it would be significantly more praised and exciting feature if it was on a weekly milestone system. So I really hope when they return in October that after the 3-day one they also decide to try a weekly milestone system and see how that one works, because it seems like they're very open to adjusting the milestones and time periods. But yeah, I'm very interested to see kind of the future of it. But also we have new crystals and some great news, because the first thing is that the worst thing about Infinity Dungeons last time was that the crystals were 5-star basic champions or 4-star basics. So if you got an additional copy of the character, like the 14 days of grinding that it took you to get that character were for 1 signature level. Like, I opened 1 Infinity Dungeon crystal last time, I got Spider-Man, and my, it was 18 days of grinding to get that 1 5-star signature stone on my classic Spider-Man, and it sucked, man. So yeah, they've actually made them full characters now, so you get the duplicate champion. If you get a duplicate, it's all of the ISO, all of the 6-star shards, and all of the signature levels as well, which is a damn great time. So I'm super happy about that. But along with that as well, they have also added and seemingly buffed the 5-star crystals, because there are some very juicy ones. They've brought in a lot of the new characters, like we've got Blade, we got Void, we got Sabretooth, we got Gladiator Hulk, we got Killmonger. There are a lot of very juicy characters in these 5-star crystals. I believe they might have removed or rotated some of them out, which is a little bit annoying, because I don't think I see Archangel in any of them. We got this first one, we got Nebula, Killmonger, Miles Morales, Morningstar, Cyclops, Colossus, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, Taskmaster, Captain Marvel. But really, to be honest, with the amount of grinding, like 27 days it takes to get one of these crystals, man, you can take Colossus out of the pool. Like, he doesn't need to be in there. However, this one is looking pretty damn juicy here. For anybody that doesn't have Blade, you've got Hood, Blade, Venom, Ultron, Drax, Symbiote Spider-Man, Bishop, Gladiator Hulk, Moon Knight, Cyclops. And then we've also got this one here where the highlights are like Gwenpool, Sabretooth, and Void. So pretty juicy there. We've got kind of Medusa, Dormammu's still pretty dank there. Is there anybody else in this one that's super dank? Not really. It's kind of just the Medusa and Dormammu, but mainly the Medusa for that one, in all fairness. And then we have what is it? We got a bit of MODOK, a bit of Rogue there as well, Sentinel, Hela, not too shabby at all, Thor Ragnarok, Iceman, got a bit of Mephisto and Sentry, but I believe it's probably, this one really looks the juiciest. The one with Void, Sabretooth, and Gwenpool, that one is looking pretty dank, or the Blade Gladiator Hulk one, with also Bishop as well. That one's not looking too bad at all, but I don't know, it really does depend on your roster and exactly what you're trying to search for. But like, just my main thing, and I say this every time I see like Groot or Colossus in the crystals, kabam, like if you haven't updated a champion in like 3.5 years, just stop giving us that champion in your brand new crystals. Like it's fine if you want to buff that champion and then give it out, but please, if you have no intention of buffing characters or doing absolutely anything with them, they're just such a fucking waste of time for people to get. So yeah, I want to see like Colossus and Groot, just remove them from your new crystals, man. At least give us something mid-range that can do something. Because, yeah, those two characters just suck, man. They are just absolutely so underwhelming. And then, yeah, the 4-star one, you've got some pretty jacked up options as well. For people that are kind of a bit lower down in the game, you've got, you know, your Blade, your Void there. So kind of an additional source of 4-star characters if people want to buy the slightly cheaper crystals there. So, yeah, overall, there's some good, there's some bad with Infinity Dungeons, but I definitely have more hope for the future of them, and the fact that the next iteration is going to have a 3-day milestone system. Hopefully that's going to increase the enjoyment even more, and then hopefully they move to a weekly one and buff the rewards a bit, and I think that's going to be kind of the ultimate sweet spot. Because again, I feel like Infinity Dungeons are a great concept, but daily just makes them a little bit boring, a bit tedious. Like, people want to get deep into these dungeons, they want to sit down, they want to have a good session, especially at endgame, and just chat with a friend, have a little bit of banter, and I think that's really what a lot of the most enjoyable experiences, not only that I had, but also the ones that I watched as well. Like Legacy and Yeet pushing deep into Dungeon 6 and getting those fixed stacks of points, that was great to watch, man. Those were such difficult and interesting fights, but kind of lowering it down to like a 3,700 milestone and like gimping the rewards as well to make it like just kind of like a little drop of rewards every single day, I just don't think is the way to go with this content, and I feel like they're gonna have much better results if they changed it to a 7-day system. So yeah, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on Infinity Dungeons in the comments below. What would you do to improve them, and are you going to be running Infinity Dungeons when they return for the next time as well? But apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy today's video, feel free to smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.